Okay, I want you to take a deep breath. Look, if you're here right now because you just found out your child is dealing with peer bullying, I want you to know right off the bat, you are not alone. Finding out your kid is hurting? It's literally an overwhelming nightmare for any parent, but you don't have to panic, and you definitely don't have to figure this all out in the dark. Welcome to this explainer. I want you to just think of me as a friend sitting right beside you at the kitchen table. We're going to look at the science, we'll map out exactly what's happening to your child, and we're going to build a calm, clear plan to stop it. Let's dive right in. So, here's our gentle roadmap for getting through this crisis together. 1. The continuous pattern. 2. Common parent mistakes. 3. The 3-layer map. And 4. Your 72-hour action plan. Section 1. The continuous pattern. A day in the life. Let's look at how fluidly a kid's world moves between physical and digital spaces these days.
So, your child might come home and say, school was fine, but let's look at the reality our kids are actually facing. A nickname or a whisper starts in the hallway in the morning, right? Well, by noon, that's turned into active exclusion at the lunch table. Then in the evening, someone takes a cropped, humiliating photo from lunch and blasts it into a class group chat. By night, that tension completely spills over into a direct threat on a gaming headset. And the next morning, the cycle just repeats. I mean, think about how exhausting that is. It's this continuous loop, and there's literally nowhere for them to hide.
There's a golden rule we really need to understand here. The online post did not create a separate problem. It just carried an offline power struggle into a larger, faster, and way more visible space. The digital component isn't some separate alien world. It's simply an amplifier. It takes an offline power imbalance and just makes the audience larger, the humiliation way faster, and the pain a whole lot more visible.
Moving to Section 2. Common parent mistakes. Well-intended reactions. Because when we see our kids in pain, we panic and we make mistakes. The absolute most common mistake? Treating the phone as the root cause. Our first instinct is usually grabbing the phone away or telling them, just log off. It seems logical, right? But the people, the reputation, the power imbalance, they're all still waiting right there at school when the screen goes dark. Plus, you might accidentally punish your child for telling you the truth by cutting off their access to their actual supportive friends. Instead, we want to focus on reducing exposure safely using selective disengagement. This means, muting notifications, leaving a specific harmful group, or restricting certain accounts, all while actively keeping those healthy, positive social connections intact.
Oh, and here's another incredibly common mistake: deleting evidence before preserving it. In a total panic, you might want to immediately erase the hurtful messages or just smash the delete button on the whole account. Doing that brings a really quick rush of emotional relief. But please, pause. By doing that, you're destroying the exact context, dates, and times that the school, the platform, or even law enforcement will actually need to protect your child later on.
Another trap is launching a public counterattack. It is so tempting to jump into the comments yourself, name the bullies, and demand a public apology. But honestly, this usually just enlarges the audience and triggers a whole new wave of retaliation against your kid. Similarly, don't just assume an anonymous account is some stranger far away. Usually it's a peer who already knows your child's offline vulnerabilities. So what do we do instead? We focus on private, factual reporting to the right adults, and we treat their knowledge as peer leads. Ask things like, who already knew this information? Let the systems investigate. You just stay the safe harbor for your kid.
Section 3. The 3-layer connection map. Finding the pattern. This is where we stop frantic screenshotting and start making sense of things.
Instead of building this chaotic, massive folder of screenshots, we can actually map the connection in 3 really clear layers. Step 1 is the offline origin. What was the conflict, the rumor, or the status difference that existed before the post ever even happened? Step 2 is the digital bridge. This is the post, the text, or the group chat that carried the issue and escalated it. And step 3 is the offline consequence. How did this impact their real life? Are they suddenly afraid of taking the school bus? Are they sitting alone at lunch? When you map it out this way, it just clicks. You realize the phone-only solution fails because the online post is just a bridge. It's not the beginning, and it definitely isn't the end.
And that brings us to Section 4, your 72-hour action plan for taking back control. I'm going to deliberately slow down my delivery right now because this is all about modeling the exact emotional regulation we need in this moment. You have time, and we have a plan.
Here are your 6 steps for those crucial first 72 hours. 1. Regulate. 2. Preserve evidence. 3. Reduce exposure. 4. Connect settings. 5. Contact systems. And 6. Review. Let's walk through exactly how you execute these. Step 1 is to strictly regulate the moment. When your child comes to you, I want you to try saying this exact phrase. I am glad you showed me. You are not in trouble for telling me. Validate that disclosure. Take a breath and let them know they aren't losing their phone and they are not being punished for being a victim. Before interrogating them for a detailed play-by-play, just secure their immediate sense of safety.
Next, steps 2 and 4 involve preserving evidence and connecting the settings. You know what often overwhelms schools and delays action? Receiving dozens of unexplained, cropped screenshots. Don't do that. What actually gets results is limited evidence that captures the original context paired with a short chronology. Just write down a brief, factual account of the origin, the bridge, and the consequence we talked about earlier.
As you reduce exposure in Step 3, communication is everything. Think of this as your practical cheat sheet. Avoid saying things like, "Give me the phone," or "I'm going to expose everyone." Those phrases, while completely understandable for a stressed parent, accidentally produce intense shame and fear, practically guaranteeing your kid won't tell you next time. Instead, try saying, "Taking a break from this account is a safety tool, not a punishment," or "We may need to involve adults, but I promise I will explain each step to you."
Step 5 is contacting the systems, like the school. When you reach out, don't demand access to another kid's disciplinary records. They legally can't give you that anyway. Instead, present your short chronology and ask for 2 very specific things: a coordinated investigation and immediate safety and supervision steps. Ask them clearly, who is the specific staff member coordinating the response, and what are the immediate protections we can put in place today?
Finally, step 6 is to review. As part of this, I highly recommend the 7-day family experiment. I found this concept so counterintuitive but absolutely brilliant. For 1 week, stop policing the device and constantly asking, "What happened on your phone today?" Instead, spend just 5 calm minutes a day mapping how the situation is moving between physical and digital spaces. At the same time, ensure your child has 1 trusted adult and 1 safe peer activity. We are trying to restore their ordinary life, not put them under a microscope of constant surveillance.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with an empowering question. Now that you know the device is just a bridge, will you focus on the device or will you focus on the pattern? By stepping back, mapping those connections, and following the 72-hour plan, you literally have the exact tools you need to stop the cycle and restore safety to your child's life. Take a deep breath. You've got this. Thanks for learning with me today.